This is the 17-piece ignition kit available for all 2014 through 2018 V8 Silverados. Now, this affordable replacement kit that we have here today will be for the 8-cylinder truck owners looking for a very budget-friendly way to freshen up the entire ignition system on your 5.3 or 6.2 while also helping to clear up any issues caused by a faulty or failing coil wire, or spark plug. Now this kit will include brand new Iridium plugs, set of 8 here of course, in addition to brand new wires and a slightly hotter coil that is also, as an added bonus, going to deliver that bright red finish, all for right around the $400 price point. All right guys, so right out of the gate, I do want to mention the fact that this is essentially an OE replacement kit with a minor performance upgrade, mainly in regards to the coils. Now the coils themselves are going to deliver 15% more energy according to the manufacturer, so it will deliver maybe a little hotter spark, but nothing significant as of major power gains. Now what this kit really is designed to do is, again, freshen up the 5.3 or 6.2 ignition system on your Silverado at home, and do so rather affordably. Now, big features owners can expect here is basically clearing up maybe a rough idle, high RPM misfire, and even in some cases, improving some miles per gallon or fuel economy, depending on how bad a shape your factory ignition system was in. And if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. Read up on some customer reviews back on the product page. A lot of owners have chimed in the review section and are basically echoing what I just mentioned. So never a bad idea to check out some real world reviews from fellow Silverado owners. All right, let's move into construction here, guys, and let's start off with the coils. Now, these are built to factory specifications. Again, a little hotter, 15% according to the manufacturer, but overall they do feature the same square bodies, the same OE style female coil wire connection, in addition to this nice bright red finish. I really dig that because, functionality aside, they are also going to offer a nice little visual improvement under the hood as well, in addition to those red coil wires. Now, speaking of which, those coil wires are going to be identical to the stockers, including the same style connection here. They are all cut to length and ready to rock and roll. Lastly, guys, we do have a set of 8 brand new plugs, Iridium plugs at that. Nice little bonus. They should be pre-gapped to 40,000s right out of the box, but never a bad idea to double check your gap before installing those plugs. Price point again for this very comprehensive kit is relatively affordable, especially when you start cross-shopping this with other big name coil options here on the site from companies like MSD, for instance. Again, this kit's gonna land you right around 400 bucks, give or take a bit, for everything that you see here. For instance, if you wanted to go with a bigger brand name like MSD, well, the coils themselves from MSD are gonna cost you over 500 bucks. So the fact that you're getting coils, which are a little hotter, brand new coil wires, and Iridium plugs, all for around 400 bucks, makes this a very budget-friendly option. But now we want to shift gears and talk about the install, and honestly, this one is going to be extremely straightforward thanks to the plug-and-play nature of the job. Therefore, the site's going to stick with a strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you, I would say, at least 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer to complete from start to finish. Now, to give you a better idea of how this one might go down on your Silverado at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include an electric and hand ratchet, flathead screwdriver, 10mm socket, 5/8 spark plug or normal socket, an extension, and a spark plug gapping tool. What's up, guys? Today we're installing an ignition kit in our Silverado, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is remove this cover that's covering up our coil packs. So to do that, we're gonna have to remove our oil cap, our PCV line, and then we'll have access to pop this out of its grommets. Now on the PCV line, we just have a gray tab you're gonna push in from the bottom, and then you can pop that off, and then you can do that exact same thing on the engine side to get that out of there. And then we're just gonna pop our oil cap off. Just be careful that you don't get any dirt or anything in there. And then you can just pull straight back on this to pop it out. And then we just gotta fish it out from the back. And then as soon as you get that out of there, throw your oil cap back on, just so you don't get anything in there. So now that we have access to our coil pack, we can remove that as well as our spark plug wire. I'm gonna leave that connected here and just disconnect it straight from the spark plug. So on our connector, we have a red locking tab that we're gonna have to push up, and then we can push in on the black tab to disconnect it. Now this is facing towards the cabin, so I'll pop this off and then show you. We're gonna take a flathead screwdriver to get under that locking tab, to pop it up. So you're just getting right under there, popping that up, and then pressing in on this black tab right here to pop it out. Once you have that off, you can take your 10mm socket, loosen up those bolts, and I'm gonna reach down here to our spark plug wire, just wiggle it back and forth, and it should pop right out. And that will fully remove those bolts. Now with our coil pack and our wire out of the way, we can remove our spark plug. Now if you have a spark plug socket, that would be ideal, but on this setup, you don't really need it to grab because you have access to it. So you could just use a 5/8 socket if you don't have a spark plug socket. So get it on there and then break it loose. And then you can thread it out the rest of the way. And then once you have that removed, you can repeat the same process for your other 3 on this side and repeat the whole process on the other side. So now before we install our new spark plugs, we're gonna have to check the gap and make sure they're gapped correctly. The spec for this truck is gonna be 0.037 to 0.043. So I just like to use this old standard coin to gap it. So now I'm just gonna put this lip of the coin right in that spark plug gap. And then you're just gonna rotate this until you start to feel that drag. I'm getting my drag right around 0.039 to 0.040. So we're just about right in the middle of that range, which means this one's gonna be good to go. Now you can just do that same thing for the other 7 spark plugs. Now if you need to open up the gap, you're gonna use this hole up top. You're just gonna angle it in just like that. And then you're gonna pull back on the coin, and that's gonna open up the gap. If you need to close the gap, you can just put this down on a flat surface. I just like to use the back of the coin, and then just press down on the tip there and then recheck your gap. So now you can take your spark plug socket, and I'm using a little 3-inch extension on the back, and just find your hole. I like to use my finger so I don't risk compressing my spark plug gap. And then you can just start threading this in. I just like to get it bottomed out by hand before I throw my ratchet on it. Make sure it's going in smoothly. Right there, we're bottomed out. So now I'm gonna throw my ratchet on the other side and snug that down. So now we can install our coil pack and our spark plug wire. Now we're gonna be connecting this first before we put it on, so it just makes it a little bit easier. We've got our pin inside there, that's gonna match up to the connector here. Press it in, line it up. You're gonna hear 2 clicks before this thing's fully seated, so make sure after the first one you get a second. And there's those 2 clicks. I'm gonna feed the other end of our spark plug wire down towards that spark plug, and then I'm gonna get my 2 bolts threaded into the coil pack. And then you can tighten down your coil pack, make sure that the connector is out of the way so you don't crush it. And then you can reconnect that connector and then push down this red locking tab. And then we can grab the other side of our spark plug wire, get that spring going over your spark plug, and then press that firmly into place. Now once you got that done for one of these, you can repeat the same process for the other 3 and repeat the whole process on the other side. So now we can reinstall our engine cover as well as our PCB line. Now we've got these 3 ball posts here that are gonna line up with the grommets in this cover. Got one here, and one here. So once again, we're gonna have to pop our oil cap off and work carefully to slide this into place. And once you have all those grommets popped in, put your oil cap back on, and then you can grab your PCB line. This has a sticker showing you which side goes to the engine. So we're gonna put that onto our valve cover, and then we can just rotate this straight into our intake. and then you can do that same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the 17-piece ignition kit for your 2014 to 18 V8 Silverado 1500 with square style coils. Thank you for watching, and for all things Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.